Hello, my name is Rehan Ahmed and I am here providing a commentary for my Unit 13 final major project production. My production piece was a short film with the synopsis being someone who works from home having to deal with a loud neighbour and the various methods of which he attempts to deal with this dilemma of his. Originally, the inspiration for this came from a book I own called The Big Questions by Lou Marinoff, a philosopher. And he, in his book, detailed dealing with a client who had this exact issue, and that was the main basis of my production. I wanted to make it an educational piece that highlighted the ethics, morals, and etc. regarding the various methods of dealing with his issue. Over time, though, this ended up changing into a more entertainment-based production rather than an educational one. I didn't want it to be completely educational, but that factor was now completely removed from what I have now. I would say that it has more of an entertaining feel to it now than it did before. It feels more inclusive of a general audience as well. The actors I got for my production were Alex Wiggins and my father, Mostaq Ahmed. I chose Alex for the role because he had a good ability to express facial emotions quite well, and my father for his ability to get into character and roles very, very well. During production itself, it was quite difficult given that with a conflict of everyone's schedules almost constantly, it was difficult to get everyone together at the location on a single day. And even then, we constantly had at most 2 members not present to help out. And it was always last minute decisions as well. Despite scheduling this a week in advance, it's for example, the day I had to pick up the actor and the boom operator, they ended up wanting to leave roughly an hour and a half later than was scheduled to complete their own work. And because of this, my camera operator couldn't come because he had a tight schedule and he expected everyone else to stick to that schedule as well. And so because they were going to be late, he had other obligations to get to. Because of this, I ended up having to double up on multiple occasions as both director and as cameraman. Filming went quite smoothly once we actually got down to brass tacks. Overall, everyone involved, we feel like we developed our own professional relationships quite well, to the extent that I feel a lot more comfortable doing this in the future, given that I hadn't worked with Alex in the past before, and we were all able to get on fairly well. We were able to get on with work to a level of quality that we were all happy with. Because of time constraints and constant rescheduling, we ended up having to change the ending quite drastically. What was originally meant to be the main character moving house, since this is a situation that no amount of words can actually fix without causing more stress than is necessary, I had to change everything from after antagonist receives the fine. This prompts a fight to break out between the two, instigated by the antagonist, of course. And Then you hear police sirens ringing in the background after a few hours to display a progression of time. And we'd not really left with what happened to either of them two. Was one of them arrested? Was both of them arrested? Or neither of them? Or did they get killed? It's completely left on a cliffhanger. But it gives audiences something to think about, which I feel is not too bad of a conclusion. It could have been better, yes, if I had more time to work with. But this is what I could do. During acting, I created a script of all sorts of things the actors were going to say, but when we actually got to filming the dialogue scenes, a lot of what we did, in fact almost all of it, was improv by the main characters. Now this was good and bad for separate reasons. It was good because it made the scenes flow more naturally and create a better sense of realism that this is an actual argument between two people. The downside to this is that when editing, some of the lines were obviously changed since it was completely improvised. The only thing that remained constant was the subject matter that they were discussing, but otherwise it made it very difficult to edit these scenes, since they never would say the same thing in two shoots. There's always change a little bit or change a lot, and so you'll see in a few instances of me having to use shots that take quite a while compared to the rest of the film. Like for some shots where there's no dialogue, you'll see me constantly changing shot types and shot angles, but for the dialogue scenes, it always stays roughly on the same angle. Overall, I'm quite pleased with how the production turned out. I feel like I can show this to people and not be too embarrassed by it. What I'm let down with is my own lack of technical awareness. You'll see from day one I shot scenes completely with autofocus, since I felt overwhelmed with the extra duties of being a cameraman as well. So I thought that would be enough to suffice. Big mistake though, big mistake. Always manual focus, since the camera can't identify what the subject is, especially when you're operating with the rule of thirds, since most likely your subject is not going to be directly in center.